Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jaden. If you're new here for the first time, you are welcome. Guys, on today's video, I want us to examine a very important aspect of our relationships with others. I want us to look at boundaries. What is boundary? How do we establish boundary? How do we maintain it? Boundary is basically who you are, the things that work for you, the things that make you happy. It is an extension of yourself. And it is important that whoever needs to be in a relationship with you needs to know those things that make you happy. Otherwise, you will end up with fractured relationship, you will end up with hurt, you will end up with betrayals, and you will end up with misunderstanding because people do not know who you are. And the truth is, if someone loves you, they will love you for who you are, and they will respect you for who you are, and they will care for those things that make you happy. So guys, now that we've got that out of the way, most of us struggle to enforce our boundaries. Most of us put up with all manner of nonsense, all manner of bad behaviors, all manner of abuse. Some of us put up with mental abuse, emotional abuse, and sometimes physical abuse. Some people end up dead because they didn't say what they wanted, because they were afraid of losing people. They were afraid of being misunderstood. But the truth is, whoever wants to love you will love you for who you are. And if they're not the right person for you, by all means, let them go. The person that will love you will come. So today I want us to look at ways we can establish our boundaries. How do we tell people who we are without being afraid of losing them, without being afraid of being misunderstood, without being afraid of being labeled as difficult? It is important, guys. And yes, not everyone will respect those boundaries. That is another reality. Just like children, some people push boundaries. They want to know what they can get away with. But that's when you push back, That's when it becomes important that you make it clear. This still doesn't work for me. This still makes me upset. This still makes me happy. And again, if they respect you, if they love you, they will respect those boundaries. The problem is most of the times we are reactive instead of being proactive. When you establish your boundaries with people from the word go, they know you for who you are and they respect those boundaries. That is, if they want to be in a relationship with you. So today, guys, I'm going to share with you a few tips on how to establish your boundaries, how to maintain them, and how to nurture and propagate a healthy relationship. And I'm starting with the tip number 1. Do you know yourself? How well do you know yourself? Guys, this might sound cliche, but the reality is that most of us are terrified at the thought of having a relationship with ourselves. That shouldn't be. We should crave for the opportunity to self-indulge, for the opportunity to have moments of introspection, for the opportunity to have relationship with ourselves. We should be self-aware. You should have an idea of who you are, what makes you happy. What are the things that you're able to put up with? What are those boundaries? What are the things that get under your skin? What are the things that make you feel agitated? What are the things that you're able to accept in a relationship? What are your do's and don'ts? You need to sit down and have a relationship with yourself and understand those things that will make you who you are, those things that make you upset, those things that make you happy. It doesn't always have to be negative. And then understand the sacrifices you're able to make, because believe it or not, relationship is about sacrifice. But then you cannot forget yourself. You cannot throw away yourself. It will cost you your self-confidence. That is not healthy. You need to be who you are. and then get into a relationship with another person without losing that sense of self. And knowing yourself, cultivating a relationship with yourself is key to making that happen. So instead of rushing for the slightest opportunity to jump into a relationship with yet another person who would abuse you eventually, take your time and know yourself. Know the things that make you who you are in order that you may communicate it to others. The next point, guys, is for us to take responsibility. This is very important. We love blaming others. We blame other people. We blame situations and circumstances. We blame the weather. We blame the government. We are happy to blame everyone but ourselves. You are responsible for your boundaries. 95% of the times, we are responsible for how we are treated, how we are perceived, and how people relate to us. People watch us. They take clues from us. They watch us lead. So what do you say about your boundaries? How do you carry yourself? How do you treat yourself? People will watch you and they will learn from you. Are you the person that will struggle to say no even when it is very uncomfortable? Because you don't want to hurt, you don't want to offend, you're not assertive, you're scared of being by yourself? No. You need to take responsibility. There is nobody else to blame now other than yourself. Now, the third point, guys, is also very important. You must start the way you want to go. Oftentimes, we get illusion and we think that people will change. We want them to change. We want to be patient with them. We don't want, yes, it's okay to be patient, but you don't want to send a wrong signal because you will struggle at the end of the day. This is another very important thing we have to bear in mind when meeting people. Do not expect anyone to change. Do not expect people to understand along the line. They will not. So at that point when you're meeting people, yes, I know we get carried away by that euphoric feeling of getting to know people. You don't want to be misconstrued. You don't want to be labeled difficult. You don't want to come across as, not approachable. But think about it. It will save you a lot of stress at the end of the day just because you failed to address those things from the word go. So you have to communicate them. You have to say them like you mean it. If they love you, they will stay and they will respect those boundaries. But if they are not for you, they will take a walk, and it is better for you. It is better you lose them at that point because you haven't spent your time. You haven't invested your time. You have not invested your emotions. So they might as well just go. They are not the right people for you. And someone that loves you for who you are will come and they will respect those boundaries. So guys, say it from the word go and start the way you want to go. So the next point, guys, is to communicate your needs. Communicate your feelings, communicate your boundaries. Communication is very important if you want to establish and enforce your boundaries. No one reads your mind. No one knows what you have in mind. And do not expect people to know what you have in mind. Do not expect people to know the right thing and to do them. That's not who we are. People take advantage. People get away with the things they can get away with. But when you are clear, when you are direct, when you are consistent, and when your body language says the same thing, you're not conflicting. Because most of the times we say things verbally, but our body language says a different thing. If you don't like a situation, if you don't like someone's behavior, if someone touches you in a way that you're not comfortable with, or someone says something or crosses the line with you, you have to address it head on, without being aggressive, without being intimidating, without shouting and screaming and making a scene out of it. You still have to say, I do not like the way you make me feel. I do not like this behavior because of X, Y, Z. You have to be clear. So clarity is important, consistency is important, and honesty is key. So if they love and respect you, they will not do those things. But if they do, it means they are not the right people. You get away from them. And this brings me to the next point, which is to detoxify your environment. You have to get rid of toxic relationships. Some relationships are not for us. They are not good for us. They are not good for us physically. They are not good for our mental well-being. They drain us. They sap us of our energy, and they leave us flat and exploited. How can you put up with a relationship that does not make you better, that does not make you happy, all in the name of being in a relationship? So let them go. You will feel hurt initially, but in the long run, you would have done yourself a world of good by letting toxic people go. People who will claim to love you, but they have no respect for you and your feelings. They have no respect for what makes you happy. They are controlling. As far as they are concerned, it has to be their own way. Before you know it, you begin to lose your self-esteem, you begin to lose your self-worth, and you begin to lose your self-confidence. That is not a healthy relationship. People should know who you are, know the things that make you happy, allow you the space to be yourself. That is a healthy relationship. So the next point, guys, is for us to keep our privacy. Keep your private life private. When you share your private life with strangers, you're telling them you have no respect for your boundaries. You have no respect for the things that are important to you. So you shouldn't be upset when they take you to town. When you talk to random people, they disrespect you because you have brought everything to bear. Information is power, guys. So we have to learn to keep our private lives private. There are things you shouldn't discuss at work. There are people you should never ever sit down with and talk about your private business. Yes, it's okay to share your life with your friends who are close to you. Yes, it's okay to share your life with your families who you have known and who you have trusted over the years. But you don't do the same to random people. They will take advantage of that opportunity and they will disrespect you. So guys, my last point is to learn from our mistakes. Oftentimes we get it wrong. We are humans, it's okay. But when you make mistakes, instead of being too hard on yourself, get up and learn from that experience. Because till date, experience remains the best teacher. And finally, guys, when you want people to respect your boundaries, be ready to respect their own boundaries. Be ready to avoid those things that make others upset. You have to also pay attention to how you treat others, how you relate to others, how you talk about others' businesses. I made a video on the questions we should never ask people unless they volunteer to us. So you don't want to be nosy, you don't want to be intrusive, you don't want to get involved without invitation, you don't want to talk about people in derogatory ways. You are not respecting their boundaries, and you shouldn't be upset when they disrespect your own boundaries. So guys, that is it for me. I hope you find this video helpful. If you did, do not forget to give me that thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one. But until then, stay blessed. Bye now.